Welcome back, everybody, to another conversation with Joseph Aldo. My name is Kim Ann Curtin. I've been a client and friend of Joseph's for over 8 years. And today we're going to be talking about holistic healing and energy medicine. We're actually going to speak a lot about Joseph's book, which is Holistic Healing and the Shifting Paradigm. I'm excited for this conversation because I think, especially now in today's environment, it's important to understand a new perspective about health. It's important to perhaps expand your expectations around your own health and how you can really be a participant in keeping that your own health is excellent as possible. Joseph, one of the questions I wanted to open with you today was, I think in this book, you really talk a lot about conventional medicine versus holistic healing. And you really cover so much from Ayurvedic to detoxification, to homeopathy, to flower essences. Let's just start perhaps with the shift that you're seeing yourself, that you perhaps yourself have gone through from conventional medicine to holistic healing. And what do you think is the most important thing for the viewers to understand about those two different paradigms?
Well, the current model that we are working with in relationship to medicine is called orthodox medicine. And orthodox medicine basically says that the body is everything. Like the material world is the causal aspect. And in holistic healing, the physical body is actually the result, not the cause. So in the conventional model of medicine, it's governed by the germ theory, that germs and pathogens are the cause of why we get sick. But in the holistic model of healing, the cause of why we get sick is so much more complex. We are very complex beings. Our thought processes, diet, nutrition, stressors, there's so many factors that play into why we get sick or why we are healthy that we can't just reduce everything to a pathogen. And, we go to the doctor to find out how are we doing, and they do all these tests, and tests come back positive and you're healthy. But nothing is taken into consideration as to, how are you feeling? How are you sleeping? How are you digesting? How are you eliminating? There's so many factors that play a role in why we are healthy or not. And Western medicine doesn't seem to touch upon these things. And, you go to the doctor and they're going to make you healthy. But in reality, we are the ones who are responsible for our health. We are the ones that's putting food into our bodies. We are the ones who are choosing the relationships we are in. We're the ones who are choosing the jobs we are working at. So every day we are making choices that can be supporting our health or be taking away from our health and leading to what I call dis-ease. And so in the holistic model, there is a mind, there is a body, there is a soul. It's a whole body terrain. So in Western medicine, we have the germ theory. In holistic healing, we have the terrain theory, or what I call the whole body terrain, which includes everything. It's not just a body or just a mind, but it's a body, mind, and spirit. There's a soul that is present here that is invigorating, enlivening these bodies. And if we don't include the spiritual aspect in healing, then we are missing something big. We are missing a huge piece of the healing puzzle, because sometimes things are happening from a very different level of consciousness, why we are sick. And this is why we have to approach illness in a very multifaceted, multidimensional way, not just this, germ pathogen belief system. And so that's why when, for example, you have all your friends go out to eat one night, and half of you get sick the next day and half of you don't. And the half that got sick say, it was the food that I ate. And the half that didn't get sick say, Well, we didn't get sick, so how can we eat the same food? So was it the food? So you have to determine like what are the factors that lead to some people getting sick and other people not getting sick. And it's much, much more complex than what Western medicine actually addresses.
I've heard you use the phrase sometimes that you feel a lot of the current kind of approach of Western medicine is a reductionistic perspective. Just tell us more about what you mean by that.
Yeah, it reduces everything to a germ or a disease entity, a disease name, like chronic fatigue syndrome. And it's like, okay, now what? What do I do with this symptom? Well, we don't know what the cause is. Well, then, what's the use of reducing my symptoms to a name or to a pathogen when there's not much one can do about it? Or one will, give you antibiotics, for example, when you have a problem, bacterial problem, and then you're creating other problems because you are destroying the beneficial bacteria in the gut, which when you do that, you throw the gut bacteria out of balance, and then all these other harmful bacteria or yeasts begin to overgrow. And so you create an environment that is just perfect for other diseases to just proliferate. So, this whole idea of just reducing everything to a germ or a name of a disease really isn't that helpful without changing the causal factors, which oftentimes is um, someone's diet or lack of exercise or stress levels. You have to really go to the whole environmental piece. What is your health environment like? What is your relationships like? What are your feelings like? You know, are you depressed? Are you anxious all the time? Like all of these feelings and thoughts totally 100% affect the physiology of the body. And this is nothing new that I'm saying. But we still, with Western medicine, go to the place of what is the drug I can give you, perhaps, to overcome these symptoms, whether they're physical symptoms or psychological symptoms. And the point isn't to suppress a symptom, because the symptom is there for a reason. The symptom is information. And so we want to use that information to inform us on the path to support this person to healing. We don't want to just stop the symptom. For example, if a child has eczema and you put some cortisol cream on it, then the eczema disappears. You didn't get rid of the disease. You just suppressed the symptom. And then the next issue that arises could be asthma, because when you suppress a symptom that's on the skin and it disappears, it actually goes deeper into the organs. And of course, the organ that relates to the skin is the lungs. And so you just created a chronic illness by getting rid of the skin, the eczema on the skin. And now the child has asthma, which is a much more deeply seated illness, much more chronic and difficult illness to heal. It's life-threatening, actually. So in wanting to, help people, Western medicine is actually suppressing symptoms and creating deeper states of disease or chronic illness. And, in this country, 1 in 3 people has a chronic illness. This is pretty serious. So we really have to look towards a new model of medicine and healing in order to truly get to the root or to uproot the cause of disease, rather than just covering up some symptoms with, drugs or surgery, which is what the two main tools that Western medicine has. But in holistic healing, there are so many tools that are possible, that are able to support people and come to a place of healing. And the thing about holistic medicine and holistic healing is that these tools are from nature. They're a part of us. They're part of our environment. And they don't have the side effects that Western medicine has. The side effects are healing. The side effects are curing. And so when we learn these very simple techniques and utilize these tools that come from nature, then it benefits all of us, because it's inexpensive. no negative side effects, and you actually come to the place of wholeness. That is the point of healing, to return to a place of wholeness, mind, body, spirit, emotions. And then we have this feeling of neutrality in life. We go through life, with grace and ease rather than with these extremes of ups and downs.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember, many years ago, before you and I met, probably 20 years ago, working for Borders Books and Music, I stumbled into Dr. Sarnow's book, Healing Back Pain. And as I began to read that book, he was talking about back pain was what were ulcers in the 70s. And he said there was this, cultural kind of expectation or understanding or kind of presumption that, oh, ulcers are what kept people home from work or would be explained away. I remember even in The Odd Couple, Oscar Madison was always having an ulcer, and Felix tried to have him eat bland foods and whatnot, but he was also a very stressed kind of person. And when I read this Sarnow book, Sarnow was saying what was once the ulcer in the 70s is now back pain. And he spoke about how this was really coming from this place of the stress that people had. It was the first time that I was introduced to this different perspective around mindset, around thoughts, around the impact that your stress levels could have on. And I thought, wow, if something was once the ulcers is now back pain because it's more societally accepted, that is a fascinating shift. And then you and I met, and of course you took me even deeper. So what would you say, that sort, I feel that's kind of in the realm of the energy medicine, right? The energy shift of ulcers to back pain. What would you say to what I've just spoken to?
Well, yeah, there's always a movement with illness. And so everything is interconnected. We cannot separate mind and body. So ulcers come from a place of deep stress, right? When you are a type A personality, you have a lot of impatience, anger, frustration, which creates a lot of acid in your stomach. So your stomach already has acid. You increase that acid, and what's going to happen? You go to an ulcerated state. So it's curious that Sarno goes from and connects the back pain to the ulcers. I wasn't aware of that.
Well, not so much connecting them, but he noticed that in the set, what now is, this was, 20 years ago when he wrote the book, he was noticing this kind of influx of everybody having back pain issues.
Oh, I see.
And he realized that now is the modern version of what used to be everybody has ulcers in the 70s. So that the style or experience of discomfort or illness had shifted to now back pain instead of what was once the ulcer.
Right. So it's almost like it's a better illness than ulcers to like say, I can't come to work, I have back pain.
Right. But people really are having more back pain. This was 20 years ago. He was saying then ulcers kind of went away. And now what took its place is back pain.
Right. So it goes into a deeper aspect because the back represents support and feeling supported by your job, by your family, friends, environment, what have you. So yeah, I guess it does make sense that it goes from from an ulcerated state in the stomach to the to back pain. I could definitely see the connection now. But yeah, the point is that everything is interconnected, and all physical disease has a counterpart in the mind, because it's not called a mind and a body or a body. It's called mind-body. It's one unit. So for example, in Chinese medicine, when there's a lot of fear, you're going to have issues with your kidneys. If there's a lot of anger or frustration, you're going to have issues with your liver. So all of the organs and systems relate to a type of mindset. And so when I'm working with people, I'm not going to just be like, so for example, an Oscar Madison type who's very impatient and irritated and gets angry so quickly, I would say, be sure to avoid coffee and stimulants and smoking and salt. All these things will incite ulcers and increase your pitta or your fire. Ayurveda is pitta, but it's the fire aspect inside of us. And if we already have a lot of fire, because that is our constitution, that we're very fiery, then you have to cool things down and not like eat spicy foods or eat or drink a lot of coffee, because that's going to just perpetuate that imbalance. So yeah, I would change the person's diet as well as give them flower essences like impatiens and cherry plum, you know, to really calm down their mind and find a place of harmony within themselves. So yeah, the approach to healing, as opposed to like what is, they'd say, Western medicine would say, you have GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease. And it's like, okay, well, now what? Well, take this medication or take Tums. But you're not getting to the cause of the problem by decreasing the acid in the stomach, because the person is still smoking cigarettes, still drinking coffee, still has a stressful job, isn't doing yoga or something to move that energy and shift that consciousness. So how are you actually helping that person by giving them a drug so that they don't feel the acid anymore? It's not helping at all. It's actually going to create a much deeper chronic illness later on down the road. And that's what Western medicine is really fantastic at, is kicking the bucket, you know, kicking the can down the road. And for the one day when you have to deal with something much, much more severe.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about energy medicine. I have had incredible experience with some energy medicine with you. I've, spoken briefly about this in some of our other conversations for your podcast and YouTube channel. Why don't you just talk to us a little bit about what is possible with energy medicine and how you yourself, came upon it, perhaps?
Well, everything is energy first and foremost. First, there's the thought, and then there's the action, and then there's the creation of it. So everything begins in the mind, begins in the more subtle spheres of existence, and then begins to materialize. So the body, I always say the body is not the cause, but the result. I am angry, my liver is going to be affected. I am afraid, I'm going to have issues with my kidneys. So mind creates the body. Thought creates form. Energy creates this third dimensional reality. So everything is energy first and foremost. That's why clairvoyants, seers, can actually see disease happening in the body before it happens, because it's already in the energy field. This is how you can actually prevent disease, by going to people who actually can perceive at that level to support the prevention of illness by making adjustments to your thoughts, behaviors, working with the subconscious mind, because all is happening at the subconscious level. Things, beliefs that we're not even aware of, as well as at the level of our genetics. So hereditary factors play a huge role in our health and the future of our health. And once, I'll give a great example of this. Once I was in bed some years ago, and I woke up at 3 a.m, and the area around my liver was swollen 3 times the size. It was just like completely and utterly like hard, swollen, painful. And I'm laying in bed, and I have a pretty intimate relationship with my guides and spirit. And so I'm laying there and I'm like, so you all know I'm not going to the doctor, right? I'm not going to the doctor. I'm not going to the hospital. Any normal person would have called 911 and had the ambulance coming, because the pain was excruciating. But I've had so many experiences with my body that I know how to work with it. And I know how to trust my inner voice and my guidance. And if I heard to go to the doctor, I would have absolutely gone. But I just lay there and I said, this body, you need this body to do the work that I'm here to do in the world. So heal it. Heal this body. And so I laid there for about 5 minutes, and finally I heard, take these 2 flower essences. So I crawled out of bed, literally crawled like a snake. It was so painful. Went to the area where I had the flower essences, pulled the 2 out that was needed, which was walnut and crab apple. And I got into bed and I took a drop of each. And within 5 minutes, everything shifted 50% less.
Wow.
The pain, the swelling, the sensation, everything just like shifted. And I'm just laying there like observing in awe at how fast things changed. And my inner voice said, in 10 minutes, take another dose, another drop of each remedy. So 10 minutes later, take a drop of each. And yet again, it went down 90%. The pain level, as well as the inflammation. I heard take one more dose in 10 minutes, which I did. I fell asleep, woke up as if nothing had ever happened.
Wow. It's an incredible story.
So here is a physical illness, physical symptoms. Clearly something is happening. I thought it was my liver. So the next morning when I woke up, I said, so what was that all about? And my inner voice said, your father had a tumor in his hepatic flexure. The hepatic flexure is right below the liver in the intestinal tract. And my father had a tumor there at the age of 72. And he had that tumor removed. So they said, you were releasing the tendency, the hereditary tendency for that to happen in your body.
Wow.
So these are flower essences, mind you. It's energy medicine. But I was uprooting the causal agent, which was somewhere in the future going to happen, that was in my lineage with my father. And sure enough, it was cleared. So that's a miraculous story from my perspective. Yes. And I don't have anyone there to prove it.
Yep.
But I'm telling you.
You proved it to yourself. You proved it to yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And I've had many experiences with clients where things just shifted. Like I had people call me who were suicidal on the phone. And all I did was hold the remedies in my hand, or I actually took the remedies myself for the person. And within moments, the person was like, what's going on? And I would say, what do you mean? She's like, I don't have the suicidal thoughts anymore. I said, yeah, I took the remedies for you to shift that mindset. And she's like, how is that even possible? I said, yeah, this is the new medicine. So I have seen time and time again how energy medicine can shift someone's consciousness instantaneously. And you don't even need to believe in it. That's the wild part.
Yeah. What would you say is the difference between, I remember the remedy that you gave to me was a homeopathic remedy. Explain a little bit about the difference between homeopathic remedies and flower essences.
Well, the flower essences that were created by Dr. Bach or Dr. Bach, however you want to pronounce it, he was a homeopath. And so he understood homeopathy, but he wanted to create a much simpler form of medicine. So that's how he got to flower essences, which are only 38 remedies. And anyone can learn it, anyone can apply it. They're very, very simple. So the flower essences are taken, every day, 4 times a day, 2 drops under the tongue. So it's a more ongoing, subtle shift in consciousness that happens when you take these flower essences. And they're taken specifically for certain mindsets, like feelings of fear, feelings of anxiety, feelings of lack of self-esteem or self-worth, feeling of being a victim. So certain mindsets, when you take the correct remedies, will begin to shift your consciousness so that you move from fear to courage, so that you move from insecurity to self-esteem. It helps you to slowly shift your trajectory of the personality to align more with the higher qualities of your soul. Mm-hmm. And homeopathy is a form of energy medicine that is more holistic in a sense, in that it fits the picture that you're presenting of all of the symptoms that you have. So a homeopath will listen to all of your story, all of your history, your family history. And then after you speak about everything you're experiencing, they'll find that one remedy that fits the picture that you are describing. And then you take that remedy, and it's almost like it cancels out the dis-ease state. It's quite extraordinary how it works. And Dr. Samuel Hahnemann, truly genius in his approach. And it's not an easy system of medicine, homeopathy. It's quite complex, and to do it properly really takes a lot of study and intuition, I would say, to really do it properly. But it's a much more in-depth, complex form of medicine that if you nail it, if you nail the remedy, you will see miracles as well.
Well, that was the remedy that initiated my almost 2 weeks of being in a pure consciousness state of bliss. It was that remedy with you after a session that, you gave to me a small dose that evening, and I left you in Brooklyn to get back to my apartment. I believe in Brooklyn. And I found not just the difficulty over a particular experience that I was having over an old memory, old guilt that I was carrying, that I learned in that moment wasn't even guilt. I didn't even know I was carrying this guilt. It was like false guilt, if you will. And what wound up happening I think it was within 24 hours, I just found myself in an altered state of complete unconditional bliss and ease. And though I had tensions and struggles external to me that I was still in the midst of, it was as though they didn't matter anymore. And I can remember feeling completely bigger than them, and a sense of love, unconditional love, coming out of myself and from strangers walking down New York City. I was on 7th Avenue, and I was like, what is going on? And that's what I called you.
And that's an example of like the soul essence dropping into the space created when you let something go. When you're holding all these things, these limitations and these limited beliefs and conditioning in your mind, in your subconscious mind, there's no space for the true self to reside, because we have so many complexes of issues that are taking over our being and our life, and we can't see beyond. We can't see beyond the veils of illusion that we've bought into. So these remedies truly help to lift these complexes, these limiting beliefs and ideas of who we think we are. This is a world ultimately that is it's a playground. And we can create whatever reality that we want. But if we're in a state of pain and suffering all the time, we can't see beyond that pain. We can't see beyond the stress. And it just keeps perpetuating itself. And then we go into these addictive behaviors to kind of deal with the stress. And then complex after complex after complex is layered on top of it. And then you start to go into these disease states that, you don't have a chance. So the reason why, I got into all of this was because of all these complexes that I had, all of these layers, within my lineage, within my own personality, and growing up in the family that I grew up in and the religion I grew up in. I mean, there was so much stuff, layer upon layer. And fortunately, I woke up at 20, and it gave me a lot of time to just slowly excavate and clear a lot of these programs, patterns, and beliefs. And this is why I got into all of this medicine, so I could heal myself, because I knew when I went to the doctor, all they gave me was medicines for my, physical pain and suffering. And I knew at an early age, because I actually had ulcers at 16.
Wow.
And somehow my 16-year-old was intelligent enough that when I got home, because the doctor gave me this medicine, and I got home, went into the backyard, and I poured the medicine into the garden. Wow. And I said, there's no way I'm taking this. I don't even know how I knew that, but there's some intelligence within me that said, this is not going to take care of your problem. Little did I know, like all the junk food and the sugar and the candy and all that stuff and the fast food that I was eating was causing a lot of my problems. But 4 years later, I'd woken up, and all of a sudden I changed my diet, I changed my lifestyle. and things started to shift significantly. So I came into all of this specifically to heal myself. And here we are 35, almost 35 years later.
Yeah.
And I've been using the energy medicine first and foremost. Yes, I definitely had to do a lot of physical shifts and take supplements at the physical level, but I had to really work at the energetic level to shift the programming and to shift the energy field, the psychic field that was causing and creating a lot of the problems in my physical body, a lot of impatience, a lot of victimhood, a lot of anger, was so present that I had to really do the inner work to clear that, to integrate those shadow aspects within myself, and then come to this place where, for the most part, at this point, I'm in a neutral state of consciousness, just observing the world. And when the world goes up, I just watch. And the world goes down, I just watch. So I don't have the ups and downs anymore. I don't have the reactions that most people are having to, the state of affairs that are happening today, which there's so much going on. So if you don't have that inner authority, if you don't have that inner system in balance, then the external world will create all these ups and downs in your inner terrain, in your inner system. That is why the whole body, whole being terrain is so important to understand, so that you realize that your health is not coming from the inside out, but from the outside in, but from the inside out. The outside world is not creating your inner state of health or dis-ease. It's all coming from inside of you, your physical body, your thoughts, your spiritual aspect, your soul. All of it is, the universe is right here inside of us. And so if something isn't working, if you're having reactions to something, it's not the outside world that's the causal agent. That's just the catalyst. Everything is happening from inside of us. And this is the main shift from the germ theory and Western medicine to the whole body terrain theory and holistic healing. We are the source of everything that's happening in our universe. And we are the creators of this reality outside of us. I'm the creator of this space around me, and collectively we're creating the world all around us. So if I don't like something in my environment, I'm going to have to change something within myself. If I don't like something in the world, I'm going to have to be the change first and foremost if I want to see a change in the world. I can't fight the external world. I can't fight the external germs per se, because there are germs everywhere. There's always something that's coming into this system. I'm going to breathe it in. I'm going to take it in some way, shape, or form, because I am in relationship to this environment. So if I take the approach of trying to destroy everything that can potentially harm me, then I am out of balance with nature. I am out of balance with my environment. Instead, I create a harmonious relationship within my own body, within my own terrain, within my own microbiome. And then whatever comes into my system, my body, my being will be able to handle it because it's in harmony. But if I'm already out of balance, if my immune system is out of balance because I'm eating so much sugar, drinking alcohol, smoking cigarettes, eating a fast food diet, or a high acidic diet, then when something comes my way, my defenses are low and I will get sick very, very easily. And so like right now, what's happening with Corona, everything is about social distancing, wearing masks, and getting a vaccine. But there's no conversation, no talk about boosting your own immune system so that if you come in contact with this virus, your body can handle it. There is no conversation about diet, nutrition, detoxification, taking certain supplements like zinc or quercetin or vitamin C or D3. No conversation whatsoever in the Western model. Why not? Why don't we take preventative measures to support our health? Why is it only a fear-based perspective that we are addressing here rather than an empowered, an inner empowerment of taking care of our own health and our own immune system. Because the only thing that can truly handle a changing agent like a virus, this virus will continually, as soon as you find an answer to it, you know, like a vaccine, it will transmute. That's the genius of nature. It will transmute because it is intelligent. It wants to survive. It wants to thrive. The only thing that can handle a continually changing agent like a virus is your immune system. It has the codes to be able to deal with something that's forever transmuting. So the holistic model is a very intelligent, very cohesive, all-inclusive, all-encompassing model of healing and medicine. And this is where we're going, because we're going to see more and more now that Western medicine is the cause of so much chronic illness. It's not actually creating the healing it's claiming to create, because, like I said, 1 in 3 people have chronic illness. Those are not good statistics for a country like ours. We need a new form of medicine that's going to be empowering, that's going to allow us to be in the driver's seat where we determine our state of health, not where we have to go to someone else to figure out how we're doing through tests. So tests, you know, you're deemed to be healthy if your tests come back positive and everything is okay. You're deemed to be unhealthy if they come back negative. But how about the feeling state? How about your mind? That's not even taken into consideration. So the holistic model takes everything into consideration: mind, body, spirit, emotions. And we are healthy when we are able to confront, address challenges with equipoise. We're able to digest and eliminate with ease. We're able to sleep. We're able to relax. We wake up feeling happy, content. This is the true, you know, these true barometers for health, not a diagnostic test. That is not informing us of true health. It's just a statistic on cellular processes in the body, but not like the whole being, how we are actually truly doing.
It's, you know, the thing I think about is the upward spiral of, it's really what you're speaking to is the upward spiral perspective or paradigm versus the downward spiral. And they take you to 2 different places: that upward spiral of thought, of conversation, of strategy versus the downward spiral. Tell us how people, do you still work with people individual, Joseph? Do you only do classes now? Tell us a little bit about if somebody wants more, in addition to reading your book. And again, for viewers, Joseph's book is Holistic Healing and the Shifting Paradigm. Can't recommend it enough. It's been actually quite some time since I've read it, and I need to read it again. Tell people how they can potentially work with you, or how you would, where you would point them first if they want to take this conversation deeper.
Well, sure. I definitely still work with people individually, and I actually prefer to work with people and to teach them these techniques of holistic healing, because it's so much better if you have the power in your own hands and the awareness of how your body works. For example, knowing your own Ayurvedic constitution and how the elements are operating within your unique system. You know, once you know that, and once you are aware what the best diet and nutrition is for you, how to work with the changes in season, you know, this information puts the powers in your own hands. So yes, I teach courses on holistic healing, the shifting paradigm, where I actually do one-on-one sessions live with people, so people can see the shifts that can potentially happen in real time. And yeah, definitely reading the book is useful. It's a very condensed book where I talk about homeopathy, flower essences, tissue salts, detoxification, Ayurveda, and the distinction between conventional medicine and holistic healing. So there's a lot jam-packed into the book, and it's easy to read, and it also talks about my story and how I got into all of it. So yeah, there's many ways that I connect with people around their personal healing, and it's always so vast. You know, what people present to me in sessions, it's so, you know, most people are aware of diet and nutrition already, so I don't have to shift their diet so much. People mostly come to me with a lot of psycho-emotional issues, a lot of childhood issues, a lot of trauma, a lot of addiction. And I delve into the subconscious mind, because if I can get to the energy aspect, if I can get to the causal aspect on the energetic level, then it domino effects into all aspects of their life, all areas of one's life. So my true interest is to get to the subconscious mind and to find the programs, patterns, and beliefs that are creating dis-ease within the body and the mind and the spirit, because it's all totally interconnected. So I really do a lot of soul work. I call it soul work, but it reflects all aspects of one's being.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you, Joseph. I think we'll close it up here because we've gone just about an hour. I know we have more to speak to, and we will do that in other podcasts. I hope you all will look at the other conversations Joseph and I have had, and please start with the ones that you feel you need to have addressing your own journey. I can't say enough about how different my journey has become thanks to my work with Joseph and his wisdom and his support and his being able to hold space for my own soul's journey. So thank you, Joseph, for this conversation. And thank you for, being my friend and working with me.
Thanks, Kim. Always a pleasure to speak with you.
Aloha for now.
Aloha.
How was that?